Okay, now, we're moving one card on, the fifth card of the Major Arcana, which in this case is known as the Heirophant, or in this case, the Pope. A very intriguing card, because it's got much more in it than already meets the eye. Okay, we've got, again, a strong male character, mature in years, not with a beard with colour in it, but a white beard, suggesting even more age, even more wisdom, even more divine power, possibly even the Old Man of Winter is painted on the ceilings of certain churches in Greenwich. Now, let's have a look more deeply at this. On the top right, you can see, again, he's holding a staff, but there's something peculiar about it. It's got 3 cross pieces. Again, that could just be heaven, earth, and hell. Yes, there is some pagan connotations with that as well. But there's also one more dot, or one more sphere above it, and one more sphere beneath it, which is just being touched by his index finger. Okay, so what's that a reference to? I'm not going to say answers on a postcard to anyone but me, because I'm going to give you a quick clue. There's often some allusions to the Kabbalah in tarot. Now, what is the Kabbalah? It's a system of mysticism, 13th century in origin, which is a map of the universe. It's not the map of the universe. There's no such thing. And it has within it this particular type of pattern. This is a flyer card, which I took from the Golden Dawn Tarot pack. Now, let's have a look at the top. We've got, in a similar manner to the cross staff of the Heirophant, we've got one sphere at the top, namely the brilliant white one sphere at the bottom, namely the one which has 4 colors in it. And on top of that, we got the gray sphere, the black sphere, the blue sphere, the red sphere, the green sphere, and the orange sphere. Okay? Now, essentially, that staff was a very loose diagram of some of the key points on this particular model of the universe. These spheres are kind of like drawn on the body during a certain blessing, which is mentioned in Aleister Crowley's writings, like a form of benediction of sorts, in which the priest would actually draw with their thumb across their eyes to symbolize the top 2 spheres, one there, across their shoulders as in the sign of the Christian cross, symbolizing the sphere here, the sphere there, and across the waist to symbolize one sphere on each hip. Okay, thus placing the universe around, within, and upon the practicing magician or priest. Now, this character is disseminating wisdom in one form or another to the 2 characters beneath, who we can see are younger in years, despite the fact they've got a monastic bald patch on them. Okay, we could go into the symbolism of that later on. And they're both wearing contrasting colors, suggesting that this Hierophant, this priest, is talking to or disseminating knowledge and information to people of different types and of different levels in society, and trying to make sure that everyone is included. One of these people is guiding the other one, as if it were to listen to what the Hierophant is saying, but you can see that the one with the black robe with the orange collar is actually whispering something, or shouting something possibly to the Hierophant, and is being steadied, and is being slowed down, is being controlled by the one who is wearing the orange tunic with the black collar. So there's a very interesting human dynamic going on there. Again, the number 3 is being mirrored yet again with the 3 crowns upon his head. Some people say that means that the Pope rules over heaven, earth, and hell. But the concept of hell is a historically relatively recent invention, and tarot may have some of its symbolical roots going back a lot further. So maybe it isn't a question of hell. Again, beside him we can see the 2 uprights of the throne that he's sitting on. We don't know he's sitting on the throne. There's nothing here to really demonstrate that he is actually sitting on a throne. There is some movements of the cloth to suggest the presence of his knees, so he could be seated, but there could be another reason why the lower red part of his cloak is being moved in that way, okay? Possibly to hide or to conceal something about his own base nature, the warrior that we saw in the previous tarot card, maybe. Alright, so all we can say is it looks like he's on a throne, but these are still 2 columns behind him. These are still the 2 pillars we spoke of earlier on, still talking about this like male phallic power, strength, willingness, eagerness, the desire for penetration. So despite the fact that theologically the Pope or various different priest-type characters are seen as being chaste, are seen as being not permitted to engage in sexual intercourse. We still have this feeling of fertility, this feeling of this character, this Heirophant character, this Pope character is somehow heavily involved in the cycles of life and death. As if his instruction, as if his wisdom is there to control. If he is a ruler in his society, then he would be involved in when the planting times and the harvest times will be, the distribution of water, maybe, throughout the entire economy. So, in that respect, he is ruler over nature. He is ruler over things to do with fertility. He is ruler over things of a rustic or pagan nature, despite the fact that he has some kind of resemblance to a Christian figure. Look again, all right? On the back of his hands, we've got these cross signs. Are they necessarily the Christian crucifix? No. Because the cross sign has been used by the Celts, been used by the Egyptians, been used by the Romans, and it can mean an awful lot more than that. Again, the sign of his own spiritual power descending into the material is relatively self-evident. We've seen that on a previous tarot card. But this sign is on the back of his hands. That talks about action. That talks about doing something. That talks about creating. So he's very much in control and trying to use some kind of spiritual law or moral principle to control and to influence the world about him. He has his hands in everything because the signs are on both of his hands. And if the cross does, as some mythologies say, symbolize the material world, his hands control the whole material world. There's another meaning to this as well. The number 5, which is the number of this card, can also mean the 5 points of the pentagram symbol. Now, the pentagram symbol is not exclusively pagan, it's not exclusively Wiccan, there's something much more to it than that. Mentioned extensively by Alphonse Louis Constant with his diagram, the blazing pentagram, which I may do a video on later on. And it's the image of a human being. We have 5 points to us. We have one head, a left arm, a left leg, a right leg, and a right arm. Therefore, we as a human individual are a pentagram. This particular card is talking about you as well as about this mythical Hierophant Pope figure. Seeing you as a being who is, through your daily life, disseminating your power and your authority over your own universe, your own empire, one step at a time, one day at a time, achieving more as you go through your existence. So when we meditate on, when we contemplate, which is what we're doing with these videos, we're contemplating or meditating on the symbols that we have here, we can see that there's a very powerful message to you as a regular, ordinary human being. Whether you're secular, whether you're religious, whether you're agnostic, atheist, this means something to you, and your dissemination of information, your dissemination of power, your span of control, and the way that other people take, accept, or reject your ideas.